going out, do some sightseeing, enjoying the nightlife.
We got a group of people going golfing, so I'm really excited to go golfing.
Pretty much I'm going to be spending time with my family.
Dropping anchor in Manilla Bay, USS George Washington has moved south from our last Liberty port of Singapore. Ship's company now calling the Philippines home for a 4-day Liberty port.
You've heard of the slow boat to China? Well, this is the slow boat to Manila. There's no pier that's deep enough to accommodate GW, so we have to take a Liberty boat into town. It's about a 45-minute boat ride, but hey, I got my Liberty buddy, Lieutenant JG Dave Levy.
This sailor looks excited to be going ashore, and so does this one and this one. Not so sure about Chief Kennedy here. Our first stop is right off the pier, the Mall of Asia. Sorry, Minnesota, this place puts the Mall of America to shame. I've been told it's the 4th largest mall in the world. Hundreds of stores, hundreds of restaurants. The mall measures 1.9 million square feet of pure shopping and dining and riding and skating pleasure. That's right, this place even has an indoor skating rink. Plenty of things to keep the 200,000 daily visitors busy and spending. You feel like you're in Asia?
I feel like I'm in Ace Hardware. I'm not sure why. Maybe that's because we're in Ace Hardware.
Outside a store called Cultura, the local culture isn't just found on the shelves. And speaking of performers, not sure who this is, but she really drew a crowd. Hey, sweetheart, how about a wave? Thank you. I think I'm lost. There's a bowling alley, rides for the kiddies, something for the wife, something for the husband, something for the boyfriend, and something for the girlfriend. But right now, I just need something for my stomach.
Okay, you join the Navy to see the world, experience the world, which is why I'm not a big fan of eating at the mall. But if you are going to eat at the Mall of Asia, then you want to eat here at a place called Jerry's.
This is local Filipino food, scallops, spicy green pepper sticks, beef, and barbecue pork. Toss in a couple of Dave's beers and, yes, my girly drink.
Our dinner was maybe about $21.
Jerry's. You can't help but love a restaurant where the mascot is double fisting a couple of cold ones. In Busan, the way to get around was by bus. In Singapore, it was the train. Here in Manila, you want to take a taxi. Just hold on for dear life and wear your seatbelt. Our first stop, Fort Santiago, also known as the Walled City. Built by the Spanish, it was home to Manila's first inhabitants. You can check it out on foot or in the comfort of a horse-drawn carriage. Just down the road is the Manilla Cathedral. 6 churches have been built on this site, the first one dating back to the 1500s. All of them have been destroyed by either fire or earthquake or war. This most recent one was built in the 1950s. It looks a lot older than that. Our cab driver Wilson takes us to a street market in Bacalaran. Here you'll find lots of local trinkets they sell at the Mall of Asia, but for a quarter of the price. It's easy to get lost down these side streets, so we put Wilson to work as our escort.
It's alright by the Americans who walk alone, but it's better they have a company to go with them by shopping, so they will not lost in this area.
And so off we go to find a few good deals. A largely Catholic nation, we stumble across a Mass at Our Lady of Perpetual Health Church. Check out this huge crowd. It's standing room only. Now get this. According to Wilson, this is a small turnout.
This is just a few people during Sunday. This is just a little compared to a Wednesday Mass.
Night falls on Manila, but tomorrow is a huge day. As a history buff, it's something I've been looking forward to all my life. In 1942, Japanese forces moved south to overtake the Philippines. The last stronghold was the island of Corregidor at the mouth of Manila Bay. Here, American forces intensely fought the Japanese for almost a month after the fall of Bataan. Now, we could take a ferry there, but a private helicopter tour gives you a much better perspective. A bird's eye view of the rice paddies and the jam-packed poor neighborhoods where most travelers never go. We fly over fishing platforms and over Fort Drum, a U.S.-built fort built on a tiny island to look like a battleship and defend Manilla Bay. The Japanese simply went around it. And finally, we arrive. Corregidor. All across the island, you find relics of Corregidor's violent past. It's like the war just ended yesterday. The bombed-out walls of the barracks still stand. Mudslides continue to open new tunnels where the Japanese fortified themselves. Some guns are still in place. Others remain half buried in the ground after taking a direct hit.
So how perfectly preserved is Corregidor? Well, the gun that everybody's looking into still has a live shell in it.
The jungle has overtaken what used to be 26 officers' quarters. Bomb craters are everywhere. When General Douglas MacArthur was ordered to leave the island, this is the pier where he boarded a Navy PT boat for Australia. A statue of him now stands in its place with the famous words, "I shall return." And when he did return with the full force of the United States, it was down these long dark tunnels that the Japanese chose to commit suicide rather than surrender. More than 2,000 took their own lives here.
In the thick jungles of Corregidor, archaeologists are still, even today, finding the remains of Americans and Japanese soldiers who died here so long ago.
This memorial is dedicated to those who fought and died here. Only once a year does the sun shine directly through this opening in the roof, at 12 noon on May 6th, the date and time when Lieutenant General Jonathan Wainwright surrendered Corregidor. Back in Manila, this is where you'll find the defenders of the Philippines. Some died on Corregidor, some fell during the Bataan Death March. Others paid the price fighting from house to house, liberating this island nation. Among the 17,000 headstones, you'll find 20 sets of brothers, 29 Medal of Honor recipients, and 3,740 unknowns.
The shopping malls, the restaurants, the bars, they're all neat places to visit on Liberty. But this has to be one of the most memorable places I'll ever be in my entire life. We have something very much in common with those who lay here. We're all willing to serve our country and die for our country. And unfortunately, they did.
And with that, it's time to head back to USS George Washington, haze gray and underway, continuing to patrol the waters of the Western Pacific and exploring our next exotic port of call. Where that will be, you'll just have to keep it anchored here to find out.